Building a new construction home or buying a new construction home is one of the most fun, exciting, wonderful things you could do, but it's also one of the most terrifying, frustrating, overwhelming things you can do, right? So today in our video, I want to kind of jump in and just kind of talk about pro tips and top things you need to know when it comes to building a new construction home. Hit it. First thing you need to know is if they're building within a city, if this is a neighborhood, development, the city is going to have inspection codes that they're going to have to meet. So it's not like this builder is just going to be able to fly through things and things not get inspected. Most cities have between 3 and 5 inspections that happen throughout the process. Usually, there's one right after foundation is poured. There's going to be one at the framing stage. There's going to be one at rough in, which means all the plumbing and electrical's in. There's going to be one at drywall, and then there's going to be one at the end for them to green light it, good to go, and give them a certificate of occupancy. So just have some peace of mind and know that throughout this process, there's going to be inspections from the city that's going to have to be passed in order for your home to move from one stage to the next. It's important to know too, we've talked about timelines before on this video or on this channel. Like if you're contracting and there's just dirt there, we're probably right now they're saying timelines are 6 to 8 months out. Most builders are still not fully selling dirt. Some of them are, some of them sell build jobs, but most of them are waiting until they're early on in framing stage and things like that before they're contracting. If you're at framing stage, we're probably 3 months out, 90 days out. So again, timelines shift based on neighborhood, based on when you go under contract. That's just going to happen. So one of the things that people talk about a lot in new construction jobs is sometimes we go weeks without seeing progress. I had some clients earlier this year, we waited 6 weeks on insulation. And so every single week, we would get a phone call from our builder and they're like, hey, we're so sorry. We haven't had anything get accomplished this week. We're still waiting on insulation because it was back ordered. And in those build processes, like everything follows a sequence, right? So it's like we can't do drywall because we don't have insulation. And we can't do plumbing because we don't have all the framing done. And like if one thing gets delayed, it delays all of the other things. So we went 6 weeks waiting on insulation, and then in 2 weeks we got like a ton done. Like we got our phone call and we had walked their property and it was like, oh my gosh, y'all really got after it. And so just know, like in the build process, there's going to be ebbs and flows. There's some human side to it that's going to end up with delays. When it comes to like super practical things about your home, most of the homes here in North Texas are built on what we call post-tension slab foundation. So it's a slab foundation because we don't have basements and we don't have walkouts and things like that. Also, I would tell you if you contract from the early stage and you're out walking your home, which is you're allowed to do, don't do it excessively. Like don't be on the job site every day because you're going to get annoying. The builder's going to get annoyed with you and they're trying to work. You're in the way. But if you go out and you walk it before your house is framed, you're going to look at your concrete and you're going to be like, this is not big enough. This doesn't make sense. I promise you, they've measured. It makes sense. They've got it all figured out. So post-tension, slab foundation. When we get to framing stage, you're going to see your frame's going to go up and maybe you go walk through your house and it starts looking like a home, right? And then you look at the bottom about, from the floor about 3 feet up, all of your wood is tinted green. And you're like, what in the world? Why is it green? Are we growing fungus? No, that is a chemical that is put on your home. It's called borate. It's for termites and mold. It actually goes on clear. They dye it green so they can see where everything has been treated. Expect from your builder at least weekly, if not a bi-weekly, every other week update. Even if it's just to say, hey, we dropped brick and we've got stone. The builder and the sales rep, they're gonna work together with you and me as your realtor. We're gonna get together and we're gonna say, hey, here's our weekly update. Most of the time, they're just saying, hey, here's what's happening, pictures. One thing that people are often surprised by when they walk on their job site is honestly, a lot of these job sites, they're nasty and they're gross and they're covered in trash, right? So there's this tension that we feel, like there's working trash. Like it's, there's construction happening. So there's gonna be nails and there's gonna be screws. So there's gonna be trash. And so we understand that. A lot of challenges that a lot of people feel is at times when you're walking on job sites and you see tradespeople working, there tends to be like food trash. And we don't want that. And so that's again where we just kind of work with our builder and ask them, and we say, hey guys, we need to, and most of the builders do a really great job of keeping clean job sites. We want to ask the builder, and we want to go make sure, we just want to walk and make sure there's no trash stuffed in the framing of our walls. I can't tell you, I've had a couple clients that we've found trash and we just go clean it out. Or even personally, we've built new construction. I'm like cleaning trash out of our walls before they frame it because I don't want the mold and grossness growing in my walls. So it's just something to be mindful of. So next pro tip I would tell you is if you are ground up building and you get to make changes and you get to go into a design center, most important things when it comes to homes are location and structural things, right? Because you can't change, like once you pick the location, you're not moving that home. And then once you build it structurally without a whole lot of money and a whole lot of, engineering and contractors, you're not fixing that structure. So if you think you want a bigger bedroom, or you think you want a wall move, those are the kind of questions that we ask early on. You're going to pay for those changes. Just know that those structural changes, like if it were me and I was saying, hey, I'm going to spend my money, I would spend it there before I would spend it on things like fixtures, handles, even flooring in some cases, just things to be aware of, because if you're not careful, you get into a design center and you spend, another $100,000 before you're ever even said and done on a, to be built. Speaking of the design center, at some point we're going to walk into a model. One of my favorite things to do is walking into model homes because they are beautiful. But we have to remember, it is exactly that. A model home is a model. It's designed to showcase the builder's very best foot, right? And if you're not careful, you're like, oh, I thought my home was gonna look like this, and you didn't realize what this was an upgrade, and this was, this wasn't standard, and weren't clear on what was standard versus what was an upgrade. So just remember, be mindful that the model is a model for all intents and purposes. Ultimately, ask questions, right? There's gonna be, you're gonna have questions along the way of your builder, and you're gonna say, hey, well, what about this or what about that? Because again, homes are built by humans, and humans are not perfect, and sometimes plans get missed or mistakes get made. And we just, we ask questions, and we do it in a gracious and loving manner, right? It goes back to that golden rule. We treat people the way we want to be treated, and sometimes, mistakes happen. And most of the time, when we choose a good builder, and if you've been around my channel, I've talked about good and bad builders. When we choose those good builders, they're going to be quick to fix those things because it's their reputation that's on the line. And, they want you to be satisfied in your home. They want you to enjoy it. Last pro tip I would tell you, again, spend the money on a home inspection, regardless of where you find yourself in that new construction stage, right? Like if you buy from dirt to completion, or if you buy a new construction home that's already done and everything's been picked, get it inspected. It's like $400 to $700. It's worth it. So that's the biggest pro tip I would give you.